Good evening. This is Maestro with the Dawn of War II Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Valhalla Oilfield Field. Our first player is going to be Rostam, playing as the Eversor Assassin. This is a melee brawling commander who can improve his combat performance at the expense of his own health. Next up, it's going to be Finale, playing as the Plague Champion. Ranged Chaos Hero, can get melee weapons later on, can also heal and repair. And finally, on the blue team, it's going to be Telos, playing as the Lictor Alpha, infiltrating melee assassin commander for the Tyranids that can displace with Fleshhook. Their opponents, we're going to start off with Grunk, a longtime Dawn of War II player, playing as the Warp Spider Exarch, teleporting ranged commander, good at harassment. It's going to be ChebKnight, playing as the Forest Commander, tanky melee hero who buffs and disrupts with Battlecry. And finally, it'll be Fr33man XII, playing as the Lord Commissar, or rather, the Lord Commissar, slightly tanky melee hero, free energy shield, supports his own units by executing them. Alright then, that Commissar going to be getting into melee, attempting to get into melee with the Termagants. Termagants will just back off. And by the way, obviously, it's been a little bit longer than usual since my last upload, and right now this might kind of be the rate of uploading that I settle into, as I've recently gotten a fairly new job, while these scouts not even letting me finish my exposition or my tangents. I got a new job, so I've been quite busy. But at any rate, we will get back in onto the cast. Otherwise, we're going to see more squads get wiped while I'm talking about real life. Tactical Marines, meanwhile, they're going to keep their real lives. Not a single TAC model will go down in that engagement. Meanwhile, will these Stormtroopers be so lucky? Probably not, as we will already see one go down from those Howling Banshees. Howling Banshees decide to retreat at this time, but 3 models lost in retreat. Oh no, 4! I don't think we'll see the entire squad go down, but in the end, that was actually really not worth it for Grunk. I feel like he killed 2 Stormtrooper models, but ended up losing 4 Banshee models. Meanwhile, Sentinel will chase down some Spore Mines. That'll be the end of the Spore Mines. The Sentinel right now from Fr33man, I think, in a pretty good position to do well against the Tyranid army. But let's take a look at what's happening over here between the Ordo Malleus of Rostam, seeming like they were approaching the Eldar of Grunk. But not much happening there just yet. So Cheb is back out on the field. He's got double tactical Marines, but they need to get in cover. Otherwise, they will probably just get out-sustained by the Chaos Space Marines being supported by Heretic Worship from Finale. They are in that green cover. But the tactical Marines are in green cover as well, but they're not. Yeah, this is a winning fight for Finale just all around. Let's take a look back and see how things are going between Fr33man and Telos. Hormagaun's getting pretty low in this engagement. Meanwhile, the Lictor Alpha putting some pressure on the Sentinel. Sentinel shouldn't just let it do that. Does have the Stomp. Doesn't seem like he wants to use it just yet, as there are also some Warriors here as well. But in the end, it looks like probably it's mostly Fr33man getting forced off. But he's keeping the Commissar in here as long as he can, bleeding more and more models with that Commissar auto pistol. Meanwhile, it does seem like ChebKnight has at least kind of managed to find a way to break Finale's line, but in some ways, Finale maybe just turning the aggression in his favor, or maybe not. He'll lose a Chaos Space Marine model right there. And the Plague Champion doesn't really want to force melee anymore. Although the Plague Champion as a single entity can still be good for tying up units, he doesn't actually do a lot of damage in melee, not as much as a Chaos Space Marine model. Plasma Grenade goes out from the Dire Avengers. Manages to clip actually 2 of the ISTs. A little surprising. It looked like they were getting out of the way. Certainly, Rostam did react, but I think he just didn't get them fully out of the blast radius of those Plasma Grenades. All right. So, Grunk's Warp Spider Exarch singing here calmly, comfortably, and silently. I don't know where all that came from, but at any rate, let's take a look at these generators going down. Well, not all of them going down just yet, but some of them definitely will go down, as we do see Grunk placing this multi-laser turret. I feel like the multi-laser turret could be a little bit farther up, so that it could also be able to target the forward generators as well. But, I mean, he can still definitely hold this position. It looks like with Telos not being too aggressive here, it looks like Grunk's gonna... Not Grunk. Looks like Freeman's going to get a pretty good power bash out of this anyway. He's already got 2 generators. I think he finishes off this 3rd one as well. Yeah, Telos. Okay, Telos coming around from the angle. I don't know if he has enough here. It's going to take some very good decision-making for him to win this engagement. I very much think that Freeman has a compositional advantage here. Yeah, so Telos, already I feel like Telos' engage is failing. So here is Finale to support. Telos needs to push with what he still has left here to make this a successful approach. Heretics approaching going in, though. This is looking pretty dicey for them. All right, so they will get out of there. The Heretics Lictor Alpha does manage to infiltrate, and the multi-laser turret has also been taken down. Or I think he actually just detonated himself, just gave it up like that for whatever reason. Yeah, and this is Grunk going to be getting out of here. Right? Not Grunk. I keep on mixing up Grunk and Freeman because I usually think of Grunk actually as an Imperial Guard player. But, yeah, in that case, Freeman just got doubled and he had to give up his position. And he lost Catachan Devils apparently, too. Meanwhile, we do have Rostam losing a Strike Squad model. Nearly lost the Eversor Assassin as well. And yet he's sending the Interceptors in. I believe he took down a Ranger model. It's only the ISTs left here, and they're about to get tied up by the Warp Spider Exarch, who is now fully upgraded. Heavy Gauge Death Spinner, improved Warp Generator, granting group teleport, and the improved targeters. Just statistical bonuses, making that Warp Spider Exarch just a lot more threatening in ranged combat. Meanwhile, that Heavy Gauge Death Spinner, aside from just the damage increase, the Heavy Gauge Filament, very useful as a way of countering single entities, which includes any hero, as well as sub-commanders. All right, Force Commander moving in. So this is now Telos being doubled, as we do see ChebKnight moving on over here. Or maybe not, because it's actually both Telos and Finale still here. Meanwhile, oh no, Force Commander does go down on the approach. This is actually more of a 2v2 rather than anyone getting doubled. Heretics have Touch of Nurgle. They'll get maybe 1 detonation off there to trigger the knockback, but now they're so low. I don't think they'll go down in retreat. Tactical Marine's not even really focusing on them. Instead, we've got big focus on this engagement right here, as we do have Ultra Reliable going off. Assault Marines jumping in or out. I can't even tell which. They might not even get out of here alive. 81 hit points, 61. I think they're okay, but it's a super close call. Hormagon's chasing, trying to finish him off, but it will be able to get it, or he will be able to get out of there with 21 hit points. Warriors, will they be so lucky? I don't think they will. No, that is going to be the Warriors down for Telos. Meanwhile, back over here, Howling Banshees getting into melee with the Interceptors. Interceptors not taking that fight at all. Apparently did not have energy. I don't know if maybe he had an opportunity for a Purify or Sanctify to give them energy. Meanwhile, Dire Avengers, they've got plenty of energy, but not a whole lot of health. Another Dire Avenger model goes down in retreat. Rangers, I think it's your time to go as well before you lose a model too. So another push for the generators by Don Freeman. At the moment, though, he's tanking some damage from the Raveners, and he ends up just retreating the Catachan Devils, but then he will keep them in play using Commissar executions. The Catachan Devils are at half health, but he'll keep them here to help bash the generators, get the utility out of Old Reliable, and we're seeing some movement from Finale going this way. Finale with a double Chaos Space Marine build, already queued up Mark of Tzeentch, which is also a little bit strange when, of course, you know, once you start that upgrade, you're immobilized, and he actually he wasn't able to start them until Tier 2 had finished upgrading. So Finale really going in pretty heavy on the team game build, which is when you get double Chaos Space Marines and then immediately upgrade them to Tzeentch in team games once you get into Tier 2. Can't really do it quite as much in 1v1 games, but in team games you can get away with it. Meanwhile, over here, we are going to see a Rhino out for Uncle Rostam. This rather dangerous metal box. The most dangerous metal box compared to the other metal box that the Space Marines have, because aside from that heavy bolter, you also have this guy on top. This guy on top shooting that Storm Bolter. Storm Bolter model does 25 DPS by itself, and then that heavy bolter throws on another 55 for a total of 80, which is actually pretty ridiculous. Assault Marines jump in, though. They have a Melt-A-Bomb ready. They'll probably get the hit on rear armor, but there is no other follow-up, so there's nothing really to threaten that Razorback. Nevertheless, the Melt-A-Bomb by itself on rear armor did a huge amount of damage, about 200. So we're seeing Finale go around. High damage build out of him. Again, double Chaos Space Marines with the Mark of Tzeentch, and I want to take a look. I'm trying to see. Yeah, they've got Eternal War as well, so this is very, very powerful. It's very powerful against Space Marines, but the truth is it's actually just very powerful against all races. A little on the inflexible side, and we do see that Finale has a very small army. Lack of utility out of these units as well. But often just used in team games for the overwhelming raw DPS. All right, Razorback, rather Rhino goes forward. This might be the end of the Rhino. The Interceptors, they seem to be stuck there. And that is immediately the loss of the Rhino. It's also going to be the loss of the Eversor Assassin, exploding on death there. A Howling Banshee model, and Exarch even will be able to get out of there alive to save the squad. Meanwhile, it doesn't seem like... Seems like someone over here was not so lucky. That might have been an entire... Yes, that was definitely a Ranger squad for Grunk. He had one, and now it doesn't exist anymore. Commissar in here in melee, but is pretty low on hit points. No force melee by the Chaos Space Marines on him in retreat. Meanwhile, Plague Champion will go down for Finale. Double Chaos Space Marines retreating out of there. Only one model lost between the two squads. Unfortunately for them, we also have Plasma Guardsman out of Don Freeman, so he's certainly going to do plenty of damage in return to the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. And in fact, he should generally out-trade them. All right, this looks like a Warp Splitter call-in, so no, that's a group teleport. I totally messed that up. Group teleport, I guess, just to get them out on the field a little bit quicker and establish position on the contested victory point. It is now 383 to 213 victory points in favor of the blue team. Meanwhile, we're going to see a little bit more generator bashing out of Don Freeman. Plasma Guardsmen will be tanking some of that damage. Rippers are closing in on them. But man, they just burst down two of the models on the Venom Brood with those plasma guns. We've got Bloodletters teleporting in. It looks like the Catachin Devils do not have a shotgun blast ready. Do we have a stomp from the Sentinel? That's still perfectly effective. And he baits it out. Well, baits it out with the phase into the warp. They still get stunned when they're phased into the warp, but they won't take any damage into that in that time. So it's a good way to just kind of absorb or negate that cooldown. Meanwhile, looks like Commissar Flare is here out of Don Freeman, lowering the range of ranged units caught in the area. And the Sentinel also goes down. So Sentinel goes down. The Commissar has to be pretty careful here as well if the Bloodletters actually just turn on him and start attack. Commissar is fully upgraded, has the Power Sword, giving him the lead by example ability. Very similar to the Force Commander's Battle Cry in that it does force him, not force, I mean it causes him to perform special attacks with every strike. So kind of reliable melee counter. You also get nice power melee damage. It's now a triple cap in favor of the red team as they've taken most of the map. Assault Marine's going to jump in, but they're jumping into Heretics and Bloodletters. There are Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines nearby to focus them down. It's possibly a little bit dicey, but a lot of focus fire going onto the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines from the double tax. And I don't think it's just double tax. It's Stern Guard veterans and a single Plasma Guardsman squad, I believe. Yes, indeed. That is what it is. Grenade goes in. Not really dodged by Finale. But at the same time, these Bloodletters are still alive. They are going to target the Sniper Scouts. They might finish them off. One more swing would have done it. Well, maybe two, because there are two models. Or was that? Never mind. Let's just move on. Warp Spider Exarch in here pretty far for how little health he has. Grenade goes on to the Howling Banshees, and they were knocked down. They're even going to be charged upon by the Eversor Assassin. So we're seeing a few war gear upgrades as this Eversor has the cybernetic enhancement. Grants him the rapid reflex ability, reduces his cooldown, and heals him. But more importantly, he's got that assault armor, which allows him to charge, much like the Hive Tyrant's charge. You know, seems like big things are happening over here. Guardsman going down, nearly getting wiped, in fact, too. And we're in Tier 3 now. I'm only just realizing it right now with this appearance of the Neurothrope out of Telos. Psych Out Grenade goes on the Warp Spiders, does suppress them, and also takes all of their energy. Actually, technically, I don't think it's all of their energy, but in that case, it was effectively all of their energy. I think it might be more something like 80 energy. Although I'll have to double-check that one. I could be wrong. So we have ChebKnight also going for that definitely very much that team game build where just have, in this case, double tactical Marines. They probably have some levels. No, actually, they don't have any levels. They've got some experience, but they haven't made it to level 2 yet. 1 Stern Guard veterans, obviously you can only have 1 Stern Guard veteran squad, so the other one given a plasma gun, just to give them the full anti-heavy infantry damage. Double Warp Spiders out of Grunk, though. This is also something that's pretty brutal. And I mean, you know, it's not really like it's that uncommon to see range spam in a team game. Team games are pretty heavily ranged focused, much more so than 1v1 games. But, I mean, it's more about, I more just emphasizing the players who have builds that are very much more specifically team builds because they give you so much damage in a team game, but they're not flexible enough or don't provide enough utility in a 1v1 game, like the double Chaos Space Marines, like I'd say the double tack lesser to an extent because, of course, you can switch the Tactical Marine Squad's weapon. But it's still, he doesn't have much else. Meanwhile, I believe the Commissar has, yes, he does. He has the Emperor's Wrath. He's switching in and out between the Emperor's Wrath and Stubbornness. Stubbornness, of course, just allowing the Commissar to be a little bit tankier as he receives health back, depending on how many of his own units are around him. Right now, though, that's going to be none, but it's also going to be none on the other side. Also, the Rocket Run is coming in. Does it wipe the Termagants? I think that's kind of what it needs to do. It does wipe the Termagants. Only just barely. It does not wipe the Venom Brood. And that's why, I personally believe that the optimal way to use the... Oh, no! What a banishment and a grenade going on this. The group teleport for Grunk. Kind of punished there, but it looks like he will be getting out of this engagement just fine. Still overwhelming Rostam's units. So I was trying to say something about something else that I've literally already forgotten. At any rate, very shooty build out of Grunk. The double Warp Spiders, Dire Avengers, probably fully upgraded. Yeah, Exarch, Dire Avenger aspect, as well as the Warp Spider himself. We saw right there the Inquisitorial Stormtroopers actually briefly activated their Fanaticism ability, making them temporarily invulnerable, but for a very short period of time. Heretics getting pretty low, but looks like they get a heal from the Plague Champion. That being said, we've got Assault Terminators here. Now, the good thing for Finale and the blue team is that double Zinch Chaos Space Marines melt Assault Terminators. The only thing here is that they're backing up so much that they're not taking any time to actually shoot. And they could. They could. They just need to start doing it, especially as long as the Bloodletters are drawing the aggro, they can afford to shoot. Looks like the Terminators might also be slowed by the Bilious Discharge, but it also looks like the Bloodletters were slowed by it as well. Unfortunately, once the Assault Terminators get into melee with these Zinch Chaos Space Marines, that is when the Zinch Chaos Space Marines cease to be good against the Assault Terminators. But there is only one Terminator squad here, so he could technically kite and focus fire with them. Let one draw the aggro, let the other shoot, and also let the Assault Terminators just stand around because they appear to be stunned briefly. Actually, I don't think they were stunned. But they were standing around in the Paroxysm from the Neurothrope, one of the few abilities in the game that does percent base damage, meaning it does damage based on the percentage of the maximum health of the unit. My god, the Neurothrope, though, not going to last long at all. We're talking about range blobs. I mean, we've got plenty of range damage right here, as it's still ChebKnight with those double tactical marines. We've got Freeman himself. Yeah, he's going super ranged heavy as well. Already has the double level 4 guardsmen. And the stormtroopers may only be level 1, but they're also just a great source of range damage, because aside from the fact that they do just good overall damage, they also have increased range when you get the assault kit. We've got multiple grenades going off. We've got plasma grenades, we've got psych out grenades, we've got interceptors retreating, and we've also got not P-Dev. That's not a P-Dev, that's a P-Dread. Plasma Dread, knocking over the warp spiders. I actually really like the idea of the ChebKnight Dreadnought with the plasma cannon as a way of dealing with the warp spiders. I mean, a warp spider squad can definitely at least dodge the first shot, but after the first one and they don't have a teleport, I feel like the warp spiders can't stick around too long against a ChebKnight Dreadnought. And if that weren't enough, it actually has a Hurricane Bolter that does 51.94 piercing DPS. See, I overall actually like the Dreadnought against the warp spiders. Unfortunately, the Dreadnought against the Fire Prism, I actually don't like that one well at all for the Dreadnought. The Fire Prism, I would say, probably kind of hard counters the Dreadnought. All right. Oh, no. These Terminators are having a pretty tough time. These are Assault Terminators. They need to teleport out of there. I mean, they're up against Bloodletters supported by Worship. The Chaos Terminators. The Chaos Terminators also have Lightning Claws. Those are dead Assault Terminators from ChebKnight. He's also got a Terminator Force Commander. At least Terminator Force Commander can retreat, so he will be getting out of there alive. The Fire Prism for Grunk doing some pretty good work. Looks like he lost his Shuriken Cannon at some point, however. Now, the Fire Prism is great, but it does need to back up. It does need to respect the army that's in front of it. Does not want to get caught. Actually, there's not too much here that can really catch or punish the Fire Prism that hard. Fire Prism getting a little too close. The Warp Spiders, they were definitely attempting a Haywire. They're actually, maybe not definitely, I'm pretty sure they were, but they were attempting a Haywire. Unfortunately, the Dreadnought actually managed to move out of the way. This might also be a dead Warp Spider Exarch, unless he can get a teleport in time. No, he can't. So, nice self-combo, or nice just like combo for the Dreadnought itself. Like the plasma shot hit first, and then that knocked him down on the ground, and then he was actually able to finish the Warp Spider Exarch with the follow-up shots from the Hurricane Bolter. Bloodletters, it looks like it might be their time. No, they're not. The Bloodletter's going to be fine, or are they? Is this going to be another rocket run? This is another rocket run. And oh my god, this is going to take out the Heretics and the Chaos Space Marine squad. That's a big blow for Finale. So now I actually remembered what I was trying to talk about a while ago, that ideally... Oh my god, I'm going to get distracted, though, by the loss of these Terminators. Vanquisher can absolutely chase after that, but I guess it needs to be careful of the Venom Brood. Also doesn't want to drive into the Abyss, but now that also means it's getting closer to the Venom Brood. It's exposing rear armor to the Venom Brood. Can it get away? So yeah, the thing I've been trying to talk about, but I've already been interrupted 2 times. Rocket Run. Instead of making you can control the direction in which it goes. So instead of making it so that it knocks your opponent's enemies away from you, knock them toward you. That way, they have a longer retreat path, and you can also use the rest of your army to follow up on the rocket run and finish off any stragglers that weren't killed by the rocket run itself. Meanwhile, that is going to be the end of the ChebKnight Dreadnought. I feel it had a fairly good run. Oh, wow. What an aggressive teleport by the Interceptors to try to deal with this Fire Prism. Don't know if it's going to work. Oh, my. Actually, it might. It does. I was totally wrong there. Unfortunately, I think probably a little bit of a lack of recognition from Grunk. But you rarely see this. Interceptors can be upgraded to Psy Cannons. These are also level 4 interceptors, so that means they can switch to a weapon that does some anti-vehicle damage, and they can actually freely switch. You don't see this upgrade that often, and I didn't think it was going to result in the kill there, and in my opinion it also shouldn't have, because if Grunk had realized it in time, he would have tried to tie up the interceptor so that they would not have been able to fire off the last follow-up shots that finished off the fire prison. Oh no, Grunk, unfortunately, I don't know, maybe Grunk is rusty. I don't actually see his name around that much anymore. He is a good player, he's been around for a pretty long time, but possibly rusty. Lost those Dire Avengers rather unexpectedly, nearly loses the Autarch to this Eversor assassin who has his own multi-bombs, as well as the Eviscerator Axe. 65 power melee DPS also grants the kill zone ability. Victory points now down to 126 to 116. We have a webway gate from Grunk, has been spotted, will be taken down, and he doesn't make much off of that transport. Meanwhile, Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines unloading their damage, and unfortunately for Finale, he only has the single one left. But even that single Chaos Space Marine model going to be doing so much damage, level 4 and fully upgraded. Here is an orbital bombardment. I believe that was called in by... It's got to be Rostam. He must have been floating a lot. Unfortunately for him, he misses it all. He doesn't catch anything with the orbital bombardment. Meanwhile, Fanaticism used on some of the Stormtroopers. It might have been a little bit early, and it's looking like a lost engagement for Rostam. He's only got the Strike Squad still in here, but they're just, I mean, the Warp Spiders are just kind of dancing around them. One squad of Warp Spiders finally forced to retreat. The Interceptors, I feel like they should turn on the other squad of Warp Spiders, the one that's just retreating, see if they can get more models. Is this going to be another group teleport? Or is this actually... No, this time it is a Warp Spider call, and we've got triple Warp Spiders out of Grunk. Meanwhile, some things happening over here. Guardsmen getting pretty low for Don Freeman. A second Neurothrope will be out for Telos, who really does not have that much of an army, but what he does have is quite powerful, as he's not bothering to even replace Tyranid squads anymore. He's just going full on in the super units and monsters from Tier 3. Unfortunately for him, this could be a dead Carnifex. The Vanquisher, I feel like it's worth the Vanquisher's time to try to finish that off. There were the Plague Marines, so that was the main thing that could have threatened the Leman Russ. And the Leman Russ wasn't actually at a huge amount of hit points, so maybe there was some risk to it. At any rate, we are going to see the natural victory point for the red team actually be taken by the Lictor Alpha at this time. Maybe not taken just yet. He does get the decap, though, and that's not insignificant either. So it will be evened out at a 1-to-1. Lictor Alpha fully upgraded and level 6. Toxin Miasma reduces the damage and speed of units attacked by the Lictor Alpha in melee. Deadly Jump, War Gear, which grants the Assault Leap. Those are synonyms. I feel like they should just be the same thing. And the Lone Hunter. Lone Hunter is an interesting one. The buff that it provides is incredibly powerful, but sometimes the condition that procs that buff is not desirable. My god, that was the end of the Autarch. Unfortunately, the Autarch really is just no match for the Chaos Terminators. Oh no. Tactical Marines are super lucky to get out of here. My god, is that another rocket run as well? This is now the third rocket run I believe we've seen out of Don Freeman. That means that over the course of this game, he has generated at least 1,500 red, which is kind of insane. But I mean, he does have double level 4 Plasma Guardsmen, level 4 Catachan Devils, level 2 Stormtroopers, and a level 10 Commissar. Freeman is actually pretty insane. He's a very good player. Anyway, oh no, Rostam, he's maybe just going in for... Yeah, he might have even had... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Bio Meltdown, and I think he was looking for the Bio Meltdown Death Explosion. Meanwhile, Terminator Force Commander can just retreat, but instead he will be finished off in melee by the Lightning Claw Chaos Terminators. More things coming out from the side as Freeman makes his rotation. So Freeman obviously looking pretty insane with that level 10 Commissar. How's about everyone else? We've got the level 5 Warp Spider Exarch. We've got a level 3 Scout Squad. because a Terminator Force Commander can't level, especially when he's dead. Level 9 Eversor Assassin, level 8 Plague Champion, and still with the Bile Spewer, as well as that level 6 Lictor Alpha, who we've already seen. Alright, this time they're going for the kill on the Chaos Terminators. Now it might be risky. Leman Russ walking right into the fire of the Psy Cannon Interceptor. Melt-A-Bomb came out from the Eversor Assassin. Interceptors, though, are they throwing their Melt-A-Bomb as well? I believe they have one. Actually, I'm not 100% sure. I think I got confused because I think the first time... I don't know. I messed up. Just check it. I'll check it later.
We have 100 points remaining.
Alright. Double-digit victory points for both teams. Catachan Devils trying to hold this, but I think in the end they will be outmatched, especially with the Green Knight Terminators approaching. Can they get any models on retreat? There's one, there's two Interceptors, I believe, tagging that second one. So Red Team desperately holding on to their natural victory point. They do have a Land Raider Redeemer right here, as well as two Leman Russes, both Leman Russes going with the Vanquisher Cannon. It does make sense here, especially as much as I've talked about the Vanquisher Cannon, or the Leman Russ in general. When against these double Carnifexes, you absolutely want the double Vanquisher Cannon. Vanquishers will outrange the Carnifexes, gives you the highest possible DPS at the longest possible range. So it's absolutely the correct choice. We've got a third Carnifex from Telos. You know, if anything, this Leman Russ, can it chase past the Carnifex? No, it can't. I was going to say maybe it could chase past the Carnifex to kill the other ones, but there is some risk that the Leman Russes do expose themselves there. Meanwhile, it is a double cap, and I might have been hyping up Freeman, but it's our blue team that has the double cap at the moment, and with so little time, it does look like they're in a good position to win this. It's not over yet for the red team. Grunk struggling quite a bit with, I don't know, he's just struggling quite a bit in general. Late Rhino out of Rostam is very, very peculiar, as well as the Seer Council out of Grunk. I am very worried that the Seer Council may have trouble getting value here. All right, Eldritch is mostly dodged. Orbital Bombardment looks like it's only catching the Plague Champion. Yeah, that is it. I don't think it even kills the Plague Champion right there, but it could be close. No, it does. I guess it was just right dead center on him. So dead center that it made him dead. All right, Grunk is just going to move straight on in with that Seer Council, trying to take on the Terminators. Certainly they'll do a lot of damage, but they'll also just take so much in return because there's so many other units here that they had to deal with and did not really consider. All right, it's a double cap for the red team. They actually own the blue team's natural. Emperor's Wrath coming in. It's going to mostly miss. Catches a single Heretic model. Maybe a little bit of the Land Raider Phobos. Yeah, Land Raider Phobos out of Finale. It's pushing in so far, though. It's already at like 20% of its hit points. It's getting super low. I mean, there's double Vanquisher Cannon Leman Russes here. That's absolutely the end of the Fire Prism. It looks like more things are being lost here. But the red team... Oh, and the Plague Clouds on retreat. The Noxious Clouds take out... Oh, no. That's both of Freeman's level 4 Guardsman squads. And with these Interceptors here, can they finish off one of the Leman Russes as well? That'll be a Leman Russ down. Freeman suddenly losing pretty much his whole army, while the red team also pretty suddenly losing their victory points. Or rather, it's the blue team who are losing their victory points. Oh yeah, Freeman actually on the winning team, despite how much he lost there. But I suppose Finale lost quite a few things too. Looks like the game's not completely over yet, and maybe actually it is. All right, that will be it. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.